Have you ever stopped to notice the voice inside your head? It's that silent conversation you have with yourself throughout the day. This inner voice is a fundamental part of being human. It wakes up with us in the morning, helps us decide what to wear and what to eat for breakfast, and comments on the world around us as we go about our daily routines. We use this internal monologue to rehearse conversations, to remember our grocery lists, and to simply process our experiences. It is an almost constant companion, a narrator for the movie of our lives, chattering away from the moment we wake until we fall asleep. The sheer volume of our inner talk is, honestly, astonishing. Scientists estimate that we can think to ourselves at a rate equivalent to speaking 4,000 words per minute out loud. Think about that for a moment. It's like having a fast-talking radio station broadcasting directly into our minds all day long. This internal stream of consciousness is not just background noise. It is the primary tool we use to navigate our existence. It helps us make sense of our past, manage our present, and plan for our future. This voice is so deeply intertwined with our identity that we often don't even recognize it as a separate process. It's just us. This internal dialogue serves as our personal coach, critic, and confidant. When we face a difficult decision, we often talk it through with ourselves, weighing the pros and cons. When we achieve something, our inner voice might offer a quiet word of congratulations. It's also the tool we use for self-reflection, allowing us to learn from our mistakes and understand our emotions better. This ability to silently verbalize our thoughts is a powerful cognitive tool. It's what allows us to simulate future events, to control our impulses, and to build the complex narratives that form our sense of self over time. However, the presence of this voice is so pervasive that we can easily take its positive functions for granted. We rarely pause to appreciate how it helps us organize our thoughts or motivate ourselves to finish a challenging task. We use it to practice a difficult conversation with a boss or to give ourselves a pep talk before a big event. It is the architect of our plans and the keeper of our memories. Understanding the constant active role of our inner voice is the first step toward learning how to manage it effectively, especially when its tone begins to shift from helpful to harmful, leading us down a much darker path. So what happens when this helpful inner voice turns against us? This is where we encounter chatter. Chatter is the dark side of our inner voice. It is the cyclical, negative, and unproductive thought loops that get stuck on repeat inside our minds. Instead of helping us solve problems, chatter makes us ruminate on them, magnifying our fears and anxieties. It's that critical voice that replays an embarrassing moment over and over, or the worried voice that catastrophizes about the future. When we are caught in a cycle of chatter, we are not thinking constructively, we are simply spinning our wheels in a mud pit of negativity. The effects of chatter are far-reaching and can seep into every corner of our lives. When our minds are consumed by these negative loops, our ability to focus on the task at hand plummets. It becomes nearly impossible to concentrate during an important meeting or even enjoy a simple conversation with a loved one because our mental bandwidth is completely hijacked. This internal noise can also damage our relationships. We might become irritable, withdrawn, or misinterpret others' intentions because our perspective is clouded by our own internal turmoil. Chatter isolates us, trapping us in our heads and away from the world. Furthermore, the mental distress caused by chatter has serious consequences for our physical health. The persistent stress from these internal battles triggers our body's fight-or-flight response, flooding our system with stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, this chronic state of alert can lead to a weakened immune system, high blood pressure, and other significant health problems. It's not just in your head. The turmoil within your mind directly impacts the physical well-being of your body. Chatter is a silent saboteur, undermining both our mental peace and our physical resilience from the inside out. Recognizing chatter is crucial. It feels different from productive reflection. Productive thought moves forward and seeks solutions, while chatter keeps us stuck in the same emotional rut. It often involves a narrow, self-focused perspective where we become the central character in a never-ending drama. You might notice yourself replaying a negative interaction endlessly, picking it apart from every angle without finding any resolution. Or perhaps you find yourself worrying about a future event in a way that is paralyzing rather than preparatory. Learning to identify these patterns is the first step toward breaking free from their grip and reclaiming control over your inner world. Despite the dangers of chatter, our inner voice is not an evolutionary mistake. In fact, it is one of our greatest superpowers. This ability for internal monologue evolved to help us survive and thrive in a complex world. One of its most crucial functions is planning and simulation. Before taking on a difficult challenge, we can run through various scenarios in our minds, anticipating obstacles and preparing our responses. This mental rehearsal allows us to perform better under pressure, whether we are preparing for a public presentation, a job interview, or a difficult athletic competition. Our inner voice is our built-in flight simulator for life. Another remarkable benefit of our inner voice is its role in problem-solving and self-control. When faced with a complex issue, we can talk ourselves through it, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable parts. This process helps us to see the problem from different angles and devise creative solutions. Similarly, our inner voice is essential for regulating our impulses. It's the voice that reminds us of our long-term goals when we are tempted by short-term gratification. It might say, "Don't eat that extra slice of cake, you have a health goal," or "Stay focused on studying, the exam is tomorrow." This self-talk is a cornerstone of willpower. Perhaps most profoundly, our inner voice is the author of our personal story. We use it to connect our past experiences, present actions, and future aspirations into a coherent narrative. This story is our identity. It's how we make sense of who we are, where we've come from, and where we are going. When we experience significant life events, we process them by talking to ourselves, weaving them into the fabric of our life's narrative. This storytelling function gives our lives meaning and helps us grow from our experiences, turning random events into valuable life lessons that shape our character. Consider the famous tennis player Rafael Nadal. His meticulous on-court rituals, arranging his water bottles, tugging his shirt, and bouncing the ball a specific number of times, are not just superstitions. They are physical actions that help him quiet the potential for chatter and focus his mind. These rituals are tools he uses to harness his inner voice, directing it towards execution rather than anxiety. This is a powerful example of how we can use structured behaviors to manage our internal state, turning a potential liability into a tool for peak performance. Our inner voice is a powerful instrument. We just need to learn how to play it well. When chatter takes over, it does more than just make us feel bad in the moment. It triggers a destructive downward spiral that can profoundly impact our long-term health and happiness. The experience of chatter is inherently stressful. Ruminating on our problems and fears activates the same parts of our brain that respond to physical threats. This means our body is constantly on high alert, even when we are physically safe. This sustained activation of our stress response system is incredibly taxing. It keeps our heart rate elevated, our muscles tense, and our minds racing, preventing us from ever truly relaxing and recovering from daily pressures. This chronic stress has a direct and measurable effect on our physical health. The continuous release of stress hormones like cortisol can disrupt almost all of our body's processes. It can suppress the immune system, making us more susceptible to infections and illnesses. It can increase blood pressure and the risk of cardiovascular disease. It can also interfere with our sleep patterns, digestion, and even our reproductive systems. In this way, the invisible battle inside our minds leaves very real scars on our bodies. The worries we replay in our heads can eventually manifest as tangible health problems that require medical attention. Beyond the physical toll, chatter severely undermines our mental and emotional well-being. It erodes our self-esteem by constantly highlighting our perceived flaws and failures. It fuels anxiety by forcing us to live in a state of perpetual worry about what might go wrong. For some, it can pave the way for more serious mental health conditions like depression and anxiety disorders. The relentless negativity of chatter can make it feel impossible to experience joy, gratitude, or contentment. It robs us of our ability to be present and appreciate the good things in our lives, trapping us instead in a gloomy echo chamber of our own making. This internal turmoil inevitably spills over into our external world, affecting our performance and our relationships. At work, chatter can make it difficult to focus, think creatively, or collaborate effectively with colleagues. We might become defensive or overly sensitive to feedback because our inner critic is already working overtime. In our personal lives, we might withdraw from friends and family, either because we are too exhausted to engage, or because we don't want to burden them with our negativity. This isolation only makes the chatter worse, creating a vicious cycle where our internal state pushes people away, leaving us even more alone with our thoughts. The good news is that we are not helpless victims of our inner critic. Science has revealed a powerful toolkit of strategies we can use to manage chatter and regain control of our internal conversations. One of the most effective techniques involves creating distance from our thoughts. Instead of getting lost in a first-person perspective, like, "Why am I so upset?" we can try talking to ourselves using our own name or the second-person pronoun you. This is called distanced self-talk, saying, "Ethan, why are you upset about this? What can you do to solve it?" Creates psychological space, allowing us to coach ourselves through a problem with more clarity and less emotional reactivity. Another powerful tool is the establishment of personal rituals. As we saw with Rafael Nadal, rituals are structured, repetitive behaviors that can anchor our minds and provide a sense of order and control, especially during times of high stress. These don't have to be complex. It could be a specific way you make your coffee every morning, a short walk you take before an important meeting, or a simple routine you follow to tidy your desk at the end of the day. These actions help to quiet the mind's chaotic noise by focusing it on a predictable and calming sequence, signaling to our brain that we are in control. Building order in our physical environment can also have a profound impact on our internal environment. When our surroundings are cluttered and chaotic, it can amplify our feelings of mental clutter and stress. Taking a few minutes to tidy up our workspace, organize a bookshelf, or clean the kitchen can create a sense of calm and accomplishment. This external order translates into a feeling of internal order, helping to soothe the parts of our brain that are agitated by chatter. This simple act of exerting control over our environment reminds us that we have the power to influence our state of mind. Finally, connecting with nature is a scientifically backed method for quieting chatter. Spending time in green spaces, even for just a few minutes, can have a restorative effect on our minds. Nature has a way of capturing our attention in a gentle, non-demanding way, which helps to interrupt the cycle of rumination. This experience of awe, of being in the presence of something vast and beautiful, can help us put our own problems into perspective. It shifts our focus from our small internal world to the much larger world around us, providing a much-needed mental reset and diminishing the power of our inner critic. It is essential to remember that experiencing chatter is not a sign of weakness. It is a universal part of the human condition. Every single person, from the most successful CEO to the calmest yoga instructor, battles with their inner voice at times. The goal is not to eliminate this voice entirely, as it is an invaluable tool for our survival and self-understanding. The true aim is to learn how to manage it. We want to transform the destructive noise of chatter into a more constructive and supportive internal dialogue. Acknowledging that this is a shared struggle can be incredibly empowering. The journey to managing chatter is a personal one. The tools that work for one person may not work for another. It requires a bit of self-experimentation to discover what best helps you find your inner balance. Perhaps distanced self-talk will become your go-to strategy. Maybe you will find that a daily ritual of tidying your space brings you a sense of profound calm. Or perhaps a walk through a local park will be your most reliable method for hitting the reset button. The key is to be curious and patient with yourself. Building a healthier relationship with your inner voice is an ongoing practice, not a one-time fix. There will be days when the chatter is loud and overwhelming, and there will be days when your mind feels clear and peaceful. The goal is progress, not perfection. By consistently using the tools at your disposal, you can gradually shift the balance, ensuring that your inner voice spends more time as a helpful coach and less time as a harsh critic. This is a skill that gets stronger with practice. Every small victory builds momentum and confidence. Ultimately, learning to harness your inner voice is one of the most important things you can do. You can transform your internal world. You can reduce your stress, improve your health, strengthen your relationships, and enhance your ability to focus. Your inner voice can be your greatest asset or your greatest adversary. The choice of which one it will be is yours to make. Embrace the journey of finding harmony within.